Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this meeting of Council. I am Councillor Richard Fleming, and as Mayor, I will be chairing tonight's meeting. I would like to welcome fellow councillors and officers and members of the press and public in the gallery, and those of you watching on YouTube. Item number 1, apologies. Do I have any apologies, Becky?
Apologies from Councillors Claire Allen, Boothby, Cope, Hollick, Simmons, Smith, Stead Davis and Surtees.
Thank you, Becky. Those are duly noted. Item number 2, minutes of the previous meetings. Would somebody like to move the minutes of the meeting held on the 18th of November?
Formally moved, Mr Mayor.
Thank you,
Seconded, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Bowles. All in favour accept the minutes as presented? That is unanimous. Thank you very much. Item number 3, urgent business. Do you have any urgent business?
No urgent business.
Thank you, Bill. Item number 4, declarations of interest. Councillor Allen.
Thank you very much, Mr Mayor. I need to declare an interest in item 12. It's a personal interest, so I'll leave the room for that item.
Thank you very much. We move on swiftly to item 5, Mayor's communications. It's hard to believe it was only 3 weeks ago that we were here, but since then, been fairly business. We had the fun of switching on the Christmas lights on Friday the 21st of November, and it was wonderful to see so many people out in Hinckley that night. 27th of November, we had the official opening of the St Mary's Christmas tree display, and that was fantastic. 70 trees were decorated by different groups and businesses and what have you. Fantastic. On the 2nd of December, the Mayoress and myself, we attended the Send Art exhibition at the Atkins building, and it's amazing what these children and adults, because some of them were up to the age of 24 years of age there, and what they could do is absolutely fantastic. 30 December, we attended the Hinckley Car Light Trail down Castle Street, again, which was a brilliant event and thoroughly enjoyed by both of us. 4th of December, we attended the Melton Mowbray Civic Carol Service. 7th of December, we attended the Market Balls reception and Christmas light switch on, which again was a very enjoyable evening. And finally, yesterday, we attended the North West Leicestershire Civic Carol Service at Coville. And my Deputy Mayor to the left of me, she attended the Hinckley Christmas light switch on as well. And on the 29th of November, she switched on the lights at New Bodeford in my absence. Thank you very much. Right, item number 6. Do we have any questions, Becky? Thank you very much. Petitions. As far as I'm aware, we have not been notified of any petitions. Is that the case? Thank you. Right, move on swiftly to item number 8, Leader of the Council's position statement. Before we start, I would like to respectfully remind members only to speak on matters that are raised by the Leader in his position statement. Councillor Bray, would you like to present your position?
Yes, Mr Mayor, with pleasure. The statement is in front of all members and is available on the website for anybody watching on YouTube in the late items, or when it will be after the meeting if it's not already. I mentioned quite a lot in the position statement. First of all, around the events, the brilliant Christmas light switch-on event that we've done, the lights trail, the Steady Steps Christmas event that we did, and also the business networking. There's also some quite serious issues in there regarding food waste funding and business rate impact, and the measures that we are taking to try and to address some of those problems, and also about our meeting with the social housing regulator. I do urge, I'm not going to dwell on those, but I do urge all members to read them carefully because they are very important issues. But what I want to spend tonight on, Mr Mayor, talking about is the section at the start and pay tribute to our brilliant cultural services team led by Simon Jones. Because as I say, at the Go Leicestershire Tourism and Hospitality Awards on Wednesday night, there were many fantastic achievements for our borough, with many local establishments winning recognition. The Council won a commended certificate for the Mallory Mile, a Snapdragon family event, was nominated for a public vote for the Best Day Out, which was nominated for the Best Day Out. The highlight of the night was our Council winning the Outstanding Contribution to Tourism recognition for our Bosworth 1485 project, which we'll be celebrating tonight. Special mention goes to Simon Jones, who through his vision, determination and tenacity ensured the project was supported and delivered over a 7-year period. Tourism is an important part of our local economy, creating over 280 million a year and employing 2,500 people in the borough. Now, in reflecting on tonight, 2007, when I came back here and was Deputy Leader of the Council, cultural services were in my portfolio, and our Alderman David Bill will remember at the time that following the economic crash in 2008, when it looked like it was pretty grim, and the finances of the council were pretty grim, there were very early days in the budget process which proposed dramatic cuts to the cultural services thing, and I think this council, cross-party, said then that we see the value, both not only the economic value but the social and cultural value that we do putting in our cultural services team. They are absolutely brilliant. It is one of the highlights of my time as leader of the council is to go to Simon's team meetings, to listen to the positive work that goes on. They are the experts in finding grants which get more and more difficult as economic times get more and more difficult. They're the experts at making a pound go an awful long way in the thing, and their can-do attitude about that service, well, all of our services, but particularly tonight we're paying tribute to that service, is absolutely first class and fantastic. So I think I see this award partly a tremendous success for Simon and his team, but also as a vindication of the decisions that we've taken as a council cross-party about how we support culture, leisure and tourism, where many councils, it's not services that we have to do, and many councils have cut that back, but it is always, we've always stood firm in this council and valued its importance. So well done, Simon. I think the Mayor's going to invite you up in a moment, but well done, Simon and the team. I hope that if the rest of your team can see this contribution tonight, if they're not able to watch it on YouTube, and I'll invite the Mayor to invite us with the speakers. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bray. We have a special guest tonight with us as well. Can I invite Martin Peters from Leicestershire Promotions to come to the front, please? And Simon as well, please, because, yes, you've got the important bit with you.
So as you've heard, last Wednesday was a rather special night for the tourism industry locally and particularly for the council. The borough had 11 finalists that won something at the awards, so it was a great night for the borough, various people, businesses and organisations across this borough. They all knew they were finalists and they all knew therefore they were in for a chance for a win. The last award we present every night is a very special award. We consider it very carefully every year. Nobody knows that they're even being considered for it, and it's quite a prestigious award. For example, last year we presented it directly to Philippa Langley for her Digging for Richard project. And the award recognises somebody or an organisation that has made, as the title says, an outstanding contribution to tourism. I think the best thing I can do is read you the citation that I read out on the stage at Athena last Wednesday. I did ask Simon at what point did the penny drop, so maybe we can see this evening at what point the penny dropped, because this is constructed very carefully not to give too much away too quickly. So please indulge me while I read out the citation. This is not an award that is made lightly or without considerable thought and care, and to receive it is a true honour. Each year we consider a number of nominations and we review them rigorously. For this important award, we look for an individual or an organisation that has truly made a notable contribution to the success of the tourism sector locally through remarkable effort, dedication, commitment and resolve. And this year's recipient embodies all of those qualities and much more. Tonight we recognise an organisation that has done something increasingly rare in the public sector. It has truly understood its role in the visitor economy. It has walked the walk. First clue, did you get that one? Across the country, there is still a familiar hesitation. Too often, public bodies say that their job is simply to facilitate and not to do. Too often, they speak about tourism as though it sits somewhere else. Important, yes, but not core business. And yet anyone who's worked on both sides of the fence, which indeed I have done, knows the reality. Councils are placemakers and experience shapers. You shape the streets we walk down, the toilets visitors rely on, the parks and waterways we explore, the markets, the events, the safety, the welcome, the energy of towns and villages and rural landscapes. Without councils, nothing works. With you, everything is possible. We hear constantly that the visitor economy is a vital driver of growth, a wealth creator, an industry that supports jobs, culture, retail, food, hospitality, identity and pride. But when budget time rolls around, it's too often overlooked. And yet every so often, a local authority steps forward and behaves differently. One that sees tourism not as an add-on, but as a core part of the quality of life. One that understands, as John F. Kennedy once said, that GDP measures everything except that which makes life worthwhile. Tourism, real tourism, is the business of making life worthwhile. Several years ago, the organisation we honour made a clear, deliberate decision to genuinely support and grow its visitor economy, not with posters or platitudes, but with vision, partnership and action. They became one of our most engaged and imaginative collaborators. So when we came to them with what some might have dismissed as an impossible idea, they didn't shut the door or put it on the too hard to do list. They listened, they understood and they embraced it. They backed it with seed funding when it mattered most, eventually unlocking more than £1 million worth of investment. And in doing so, they changed what was possible for their place and set a standard for how public bodies can lead, not follow, when it comes to tourism. The award recognises unwavering commitment, real partnership, and a belief that heritage, culture, creativity and visitor welcome are not luxuries, they're the foundations of vibrant places and thriving economies. They're the things that make life worthwhile. So I hope you're all very proud of what you've achieved together. Thank you.
Thank you for those very kind words, Martin. Councillor Bowes, as Executive Member for Culture, would you like to speak?
I would be honoured to speak, and again I want to thank Martin for being here tonight. His words on the night, I think, brought most of us close to tears because the ball did drop slowly for some of us, but slightly quicker for others within the room. It was an amazing night, and I think it's important before I actually celebrate this council and the officers. I just want to recognise some of the other winners, and I've got it on my phone so I don't miss anyone out. And we have Mallory's in Kirkby Mallory, they won. We have Gates's Garden Centre. We have Leonardo Hotel, they were fantastic on the night, we saw them. We have the Bosworth Battlefield Heritage Centre, Bosworth Marina, Stamford Arms, Groby. We have Best Free event, that was Groby Rocks. You can see the breadth of events and tourism opportunities we have within the borough. And I think one common denominator is this council. It's the work the officers do to support them and include them. And whether that be, like Stuart said, and like Martin said, whether that's the vision, the strategy that we've all agreed on, we've all been part of that, or whether it's simply an arm around the shoulder, I think that's what our officers actually do best. They reach out to those most in need and say, look, do you need some support, some guidance, just a friendly word? I spoke to the bid team because they were on our table, and they won twice, so congratulations to them as well. But what they said was, since moving into the offices at the Leisure Centre, they've had the opportunity to collaboratively work with our officers, learn from them, and also share their experience. That only makes tourism richer within the borough. Something we strive for, and it was central to our tourism strategy, was make people stay longer. And that has been something that has been a real aim of everyone. You know, give people reasons to stay, not just pass through, because it's too easy to do that here. You know, you've got things in Leicester like the National Space Centre that people might want to visit. You've got things in Birmingham like, my children will want to go, probably Cadbury's World and things like that. But actually, to stay in Hinckley and Bosworth, that's a real opportunity because you have so many things that you can do, from Twycross Zoo to the Battlefield Centre, to the marina, to the restaurants. But actually now we have a centrepiece, and that is the trail. And that is something that I'm incredibly proud of because it ties together all those amazing initiatives that we have started, whether it be art and culture with the statues, whether it's embracing our history of Richard III. And I think that is something that we are all incredibly proud of, but also really lucky to have. That's a tangible asset we can make the most of, and I'm incredibly proud we did that. I do want to finish by thanking the officers because, yes, jobs increase. The economy increases when we increase tourism. But these officers work night and day to make sure these events run, that the people are supported, that grants are found. And they never give up. When a project is too hard, like Martin said, they don't give up. They find an alternative. And I know this project in particular, there was lots of times, I'm guessing someone went home and said, why? Why? But he fought through and he delivered a project which we should all be proud of, not only here in Hinckley and Bosworth, but as Leicestershire as a whole. Stuart just whispered something to me and said, I wish politicians would hear this, because this is where we are, sadly. We're on the precipice of, I think, an awful change into local government. And it's things like this we're going to lose. You know, it wasn't just Hinckley and Bosworth being awarded and recognised on that night. Blaby were there, I think North West Leicestershire as well, Martin. Charnwood as well, I think. This is the amazing work our borough and districts are doing, and we will lose it. The officers might be retained by the new authority, but what we will lose is that passion, that knowledge of local people, local businesses, our culture and history that's being celebrated through tourism. And I think we all need to fight as hard as we can to retain that, because once it's lost forever. So Simon, your team, you're amazing. I'm incredibly proud. Honestly, to get on that stage, I didn't feel worthy, because it's you guys that put the hard work in, and I was just happy to catch a bit of your glow on the night. So thank you so much for everything you're doing. Like I said, I'm proud, and I love every single member of your officers. So thank you for everything you do.
Councillor Allen, would you like to speak?
I'd certainly like to try, Mr Mayor. So, excuse me, I'll try and keep my comments fairly brief for hopefully very obvious reasons. So, just to follow on to Simon and the whole team, well done to everyone who's been involved in that. The work that goes in just delivers massive results for our residents. So, it's brilliant that you've got that recognition for all of that work. So, well done from us. In a similar kind of vein, all the Christmas events. Again, thank you to everyone who helped put those on, and also to everyone who attends them. The Christmas lights, as ever, was very well attended. You had to barge your way down Castle Street if you're going the wrong way down there, as I was trying to get back to the car park, but there we go. Those are always brilliant events. The food waste funding, it's very concerning that we've not actually got a decision on that yet. Bear in mind, this is something that's being brought in by government to try and reduce what goes into our black bins. Now, if you're like me, you've got 2 big dogs, a cat, and no kids, 80% of what goes in my black bin is, should we say, animal-related effluent. So this one's probably not going to help me very much. It's a bit of a consideration, but hopefully that will get sorted soon. The business rate relief impacts. We've already got lots of businesses excuse me, around the borough that's struggling quite a lot. Having this ongoing uncertainty and struggle is really not helpful for them at all. So look forward to seeing some progress on this in due course. Which leads on nicely to the business networking event. That's a brilliant initiative. It's good to see that that's taking off and being well supported. And yeah, it's great that that's going to be continued next year, and hopefully will grow from strength to strength. A meeting with the social housing regulator. Maddie, I'd just like to say we've got a brilliant housing team at this council, so congratulations to you and your whole team for everything you do. And lastly, the LGR. I'm actually not going to say very much on this other than say, what a complete mess. God help us. And probably just to round off, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, everyone. I'm going to shut the hell up while I still can. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Allen. Merry Christmas to you too. Councillor Lambert.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Thank you, the Leader, for his statement. Welcome the new refreshed values. Always good to refresh, and good to see that the peer review is being picked up and taken forward positively. Easy to celebrate the successes and then park it on the shelf somewhere, but it's good to see that that's actually being followed through on. Phenomenal work. I'm in awe. It was exceptional, and to receive such recognition, I'm sure meant a lot to the teams involved, because a lot of local government work goes unnoticed because you are the behind the scenes, the facilitators rather than always the deliverers. But congratulations for that. Excellent and well deserved. On the food waste funding, the leaflets have found their way to the far-flung corners of the empire out in Markfield. So we're all preparing ourselves for that. I will see what I can do through my channels to expedite some answers on the funding, just to make sure that it is understood at government what the issues are in terms of the delay there. Thank you for the update on the social housing regulator. you can't look forward to an inspection, but I imagine there are a lot of councils that are a lot more worried about it than we should be. I expect us to be well placed for that, and look forward to that coming forward. And also I'd like to wish all members and members of our communities a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lambert, and a Merry Christmas to you too. We'll take the speakers as we've received them. Councillor Cartwright.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Well, congratulations, a phenomenal success, hugely delivered, very, very difficult at times, has been said, but the outcomes for that is just phenomenal into the future for so many people. So a lot's been said on that, but congratulations and heartfelt thanks to you for delivering that. How many times have we heard in the last 12 months, since probably this time last year, about how many pubs are closing? So it's great to hear. Stamford Arms winning an award in Groovy, where I come from, and particularly the Groovy Rocks, which takes place on August Bank Holiday every year. Phenomenal event. Difficult gets into the bar because of the number of people, but nevertheless a huge success. So congratulations to them. And that leads nicely really into the success of tourism and particularly our businesses. And as Councillor Allen's just mentioned, and I wanted to make a special mention to Daniel and his team for the Business Forum, because tourism leads into business, business leads into tourism, and back in it's a circular economy. That is a phenomenal event at Myra. It's agenda-led by the businesses that attend. It covers the difficult subjects that they're facing at the time, and I was there and proud to be there, both as an exec member and a business owner in the borough. And to see so many people giving such detailed presentations by esteemed business owners is such a valuable asset. And it all joins up nicely, doesn't it? It starts with the economy, it moves into tourism, it moves back into business, it moves into the private individual who wants to just enjoy life around the borough and get what they can out of life, and then back again. So special shout out to Daniel for the hard work that he puts into putting that together. I know the businesses appreciate it. As I say, it's business led, it's their agenda, and the whole thing's a phenomenal success. So I can really say no more, Mr Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cartwright. Councillor Cook.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I just have to add my congratulations to Simon. I can remember when you came to us with the project, and it was huge. A lot of people would have backed away, but you carried on with it all the way through, and I've watched it come to fruition, so many, many congratulations. And I would like to say at this point, you've got another string to your bow, which is your town centres. And I wish to thank you for sticking with Market Bosworth for the last 12 years and getting the new roadway and the safety pedestrian refuge in the centre of the road. And at this point, I wish to thank Councillor Bray and Councillor Bowles as well, because they came out, they listened to the issues, but without your help and Bill, I don't think we'd have been there yet. So that's another huge achievement, and anyone that goes to Market Bosworth now will see that improvement. And then that leads on to Councillor Cartwright talking about businesses, because our retailers now are picking up again in Market Bosworth because of the parking and the improved roadway. And of course, your 1485 trial is bringing more tourists in. So again, thank you very much, and thank you to your department, and you're absolutely super. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cook. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I just wanted to add my words of congratulations as well, because I was fortunate enough to be there last week. And Martin, first of all, the event that was put on was spectacular. You have no idea the talent of people that they had showcasing in between courses. They had fantastic acrobats and so forth. And to put on such an event was fantastic. It was just spellbinding. Obviously to Simon as well, I think he was absolutely flabbergasted at one stage, because his passion, his energy, the whole table was just looking around at each other going, disbelief first of all, and then the realisation And all the while, you could just see Simon's head going further and further onto the table, going, he just couldn't believe it. It was brilliant. And your passion, your energy, your flamboyancy, your taste in shirts that evening is just what, you know, you are a fantastic leader to your team and you get the best out of them and so forth. And I'm just really, I was so privileged to be there that evening to be part of it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Cathy. Did you write that? Get you to read it out. Councillor Michael Mullaney.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'll also join in and congratulate the Cultural Services team on such a great success at the Tourism Awards. It's another example of the discretionary things that this council delivers that won't necessarily carry over under a unitary authority, and I think again shows why we are very much opposed to the changes which are being enforced upon us in terms of local government reorganisation. So congratulations to Simon and the rest of the team and everyone involved in that great success. In terms of meeting with the social housing regulator, you know, as an organisation, our main objective is to support tenants and make sure the tenant experience is as positive as possible. And we have an excellent team of housing officers, Maddie and Sharon and Lois and Gary and the rest of the team who do a great job supporting our tenants. And when you look at the tenant satisfaction measures, you'll see that they're very much above average, which shows, you know, the positive view that most of our tenants have of their experience of the authority. And just to finish, obviously, with local government reorganisation, we had the meeting at the County Council where obviously we, myself and the rest of my group, objected to the proposal for one authority for Leicestershire. We continue to think that that's a bad idea, that it will be very remote from local communities, and it will mean that many of the discretionary things which we've heard about tonight, as in the things we were awarded at the Tourism Awards for, are unlikely to continue, because we know that if there is a unitary authority for the whole of Leicestershire, Hinckley and Bosworth is likely to be fairly on the edge of that authority. And we also know that it's largely going to have to concentrate on the funding gap and the issues to do with social care and special education needs, which means that discretionary things such as tourism, such as the events, and we've seen all the Christmas events recently, are at risk of not continuing if that does happen. So, which is again why we would very much object to the proposal for local government reorganisation. But I will simply end by saying Happy Christmas to everyone, and you know, it's been a very nice last month, many different events across the borough, and it shows what great community spirit we have in Hinckley and Bosworth.
Thank you, Councillor Mullaney. Does anybody else wish to speak? If not, can I add my own personal thanks to Simon and the team for all the hard work they've put in to achieve this today. And can I personally thank Martin for coming along and reading the citation. Looking at it, was nearly as long as the leader's statement tonight. Stuart, yes, come back to you.
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. I won't be too long. I just want to pick up a couple of things. Firstly, it was a fantastic event. I'm sorry I couldn't get, I really did want to go, but I had a work event that I couldn't make it, so hence the Deputy Mayor going. In my place, you mentioned Simon's shirt. Well, if it's any, I did see the photos of his shirt. I did suggest to Sharon that we should start him on a disciplinary after wearing that shirt. But in light of the award, we will cancel that. Okay. He wore a similar shirt at the Markets Conference. I told everybody he was from Nuneaton. But moving on. Yeah. Thank you very much to all members for their comments. And Simon, I do hope that you'll go back and tell all of your team just how wonderful we think we all are. Just a couple of things. Yeah, well, I'm glad Councillor Cook picked up the Market Bosworth scheme. It's another great thing. Let's be clear, that is a highway scheme. That is a scheme that should have been done by Leicestershire County Council. But we did it because of exactly what we were talking about our forward-looking events. You know, we did it. We listened to the parish council and the people of Market Bosworth when the county council said it wasn't a priority. On food waste, well, look, This was a food waste was a. I think it's a good idea. I generally do think it's a good idea. But we were promised by the Conservative government who brought it in that it would be fully funded. We were promised initially by the Labour government that it would be fully funded. Now, as far as I can see, and we're yet to wait for the announcement, so I will take back my words if we get a rabbit out of a hat. But we're welching on that deal, frankly, and what we're being told is, yes, we've got the money for the capital to buy the bins or the lorries and everything else, but the actual money to run the service we're not getting. So that's going to fall on taxpayers yet again, council taxpayers, which will mean that something will have to give if we continue to do that service. As far as I'm concerned, I've said this as executive, you know, if the government do not cough up, then those lorries and those bins can stay in the depot, for as far as I'm concerned. And the government don't like it, well, they can always abolish us. Oh well, we already are. On the business rate stuff as well. Yeah, well, it is incredibly important that the government do something about this, because we are going to lose many vital businesses. Our high streets, our hospitality sector are going to be hit really hard about this. I don't think that the main opposition party here should be too crag about this, because of course most of these reliefs that have gone were only ever set to a specific date, and there was never any guarantee that even if they had won the general election that they were going to. In fact, they said that they weren't going to extend these reliefs. So whoever had won the last general election, these reliefs would have gone on this date. So we won't have any hypocrisy on that one. And just finally, I would like to say, as Councillor Bull said, Martin's speech, and you know, I met Martin many years ago when I was on the tourism board here in 2007, and he's always been very supportive of our council, so thank him. Can I suggest that the sections of his speech where he talks about the values of council, if you could send that to Downing Street, that would be very helpful. Thank you very much, Mr Mayor.
Thank you much, Councillor Bray. If you want to, Simon and Martin, you can actually return to your seats, or if you wish to leave the meeting, you feel free to do so. Right, we'll move on to item 9, the minutes of the Scrutiny Commission. Councillor Lambert, would you like to introduce these?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Minutes of the meeting held on the 6th of November 2025. 2 items, the LGR proposals and the homeless additional budget request that were considered prior to going on to full council, which I think was helpful. Substantive items, scrutiny review, adoption of infrastructure outcome. I'd like to express my thanks to Councillor Williams for his work in leading that, which was ended up being an excellent piece of work. And the recommendations from that are going forward to the Executive on the 28th of January, and I look forward to attending to see those through due process. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor Lambert. We now move on to item 10, the Statement of Licensing Policy. Councillor Cartwright, would you like to present the report?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. We are here tonight for the Council to approve the adoption of the Statement of Licensing Policy. The Council has a statutory duty to have a Statement of Licensing Policy. The Licensing Act requires the policy be kept under review and must be republished at every 5 years. The current policy was published on the 15th of December 2020 and is now due for renewal. The policy will ensure that applicants have a clear understanding of the impacts of their licensed businesses or proposed activities on others, and what they must do to enhance the positive and mitigate any detrimental impacts through their operating schedules and self-imposed licence conditions. The Statement of Licensing Policy is a primary document on which the Council, as licensing authority, will make decisions on all licences issued under the Licensing Act 2003. The Licensing Authority has had regard to the latest statutory guidance issued under Section 182 of the Licensing Act 2003 by the Home Office. The new guidance aims to build on industry concerns about the need to have regard to the local economy when making decisions. All licensing authorities should consider the need to promote growth and deliver economic benefits. Therefore, we have included this information within the policy at section 1.0.3. Whilst this does not put such considerations on the same footing as the current 4 licensing objectives, it will come as a welcome boost to operators who are looking to open new premises or modify an existing one. The national guidance encourages authorities to recognise the significance of drink spiking and encourages conditions to be added to licences where appropriate and proportionate. 3 additional areas have been included on page 10 of the policy under the Prevention of Crime and Disorder objective, as shown in sections 3.4, which is drink spiking, 3.5, the Ask Angela, and 3.6, Martin's Law for counter-terrorism. With the consultation process complete, the final draft of the policy incorporates valid recommendations from all of the consultees. Martin's Law, Hinckley and Bosworth Borough Council is actively guiding event organisations and venues on Martin's Law, the Terrorism Protection of Premises Act 2025, which became law in April 2025, requiring venues to have proportionate security plans against terror attacks, integrating advice into their policies and offering resources like explaining videos to help local businesses comply with the new security standards. Whilst the Act will not come into force until 2027, at this stage the exact implication for venues is unknown. However, certain venues and events will be required to take steps to ensure they reduce their vulnerability and be prepared to safeguard people in the event of such an attack. Until further information is distributed on the implementation of Martin's Law, the policy provides licensees with links to the relevant resources, and the Council has a dedicated web page. Enforcement responsibility primarily lies with the Security Industry Authority. Drink spiking. In 2025, 7 reports were made to the police mentioning the possibility of drink spiking in licensed premises across the borough of Hinckley and Bosworth. Nothing was proven evidentially in these cases, so they have been closed. Ask Angela, the community safety team, has a dedicated web page to Ask for Angela. The national scheme started in 2016. Some very interesting statistics, Mr. Mayor. Number of live licences, premises licences, there are 371. Club premises certificates, 28. Personal licences, 1,699. TENs, that's temporary event notices, there have been 4,035 in the last 20 years, approximately 200 a year. That's the extent of the work, Mr. Mayor. Annual change of circumstances, so variation of DPS, approximately 90, and transfer of premises licences, 75. Mr. Mayor, I commend our officers for the excellent work that they do with licensing. I commend our licences premises that do their level best to ensure the licence objectives are met, and as a team work very well to keep our premises safe for people. Mr. Mayor, I therefore recommend the licensing policy being adopted, and I formally move it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Cartwright. Councillor Glenville.
Thank you. I would like to second and support the statement of licensing policy and wholeheartedly support the 3 additional sections included within the policy under the Prevention of Crime and Disorder, which Martin has already explained: drink spiking, Ask Angela, Martin's Law. I hope you all had a chance to read this excellent report, and I would like to thank Mark Brymer for all his hard work. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Glenville. We will now debate the report. Councillor Michael Mullaney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to obviously congratulate everyone involved in the putting together of this report. The Ask for Angela scheme is something which I'm glad to see that's now been incorporated into this licensing policy. It's something which has been supported for many years by officers at the council and from the community safety team, who I know have done a lot of work in getting a lot of the local pubs and other establishments signed up to the Ask for Angela scheme over a number of years. So a lot of work has been gone into supporting this scheme. amongst the community safety team and officers of the council. So good to see that it is incorporated into this report.
Thank you, Councillor Mullany. Anybody else like to speak on the... Councillor Moore.
Just a minor comment, really. I think the only thing that slightly worries me about parts of this is the policy around saturation area, particularly around, obviously, Hinckley Town Centre. I'd be interested to know if the number of actual licensed premises in that area is actually greater now than it was, say, in the 1980s. Because, I mean, Hinckley was well known as a tourist spot for its pubs. Its pubs were a great feature of the town. It was celebrated in local verse. It was a point of attraction. So I wouldn't want us to be imposing this policy too strictly. I think if some of the old pubs did want to revive and return, we'd want to see that. I think we'd want to encourage a strong nighttime economy in the centre of Hinckley. So I think we just have to be a bit careful about how we would implement that policy in practice, given that the local pubs are a key part of the character of our town.
Thank you, Councillor Moore. Councillor Bill Crooks.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just a quick question about the late night levy. Do we charge that at the moment, being as I know we haven't got that many establishments that we used to have, clubs and things that caused the trouble, so I'm just wondering.
No, the council debated this way back in 2012 and decided not to implement it because of the Business Improvement District.
Anybody else would like to speak on the item? Councillor Cartwright, would you like to make any final comments?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Can I thank Councillor Mullany for your support and Councillor Grenville. Councillor Moore, I can't answer your question with the number of premises between two different dates, but what I can confidently say to you is the policy is important because it's what licensed premises adhere to, it's their guidelines, it's what they have to do. And it's borne out in the number of licensing hearings we have, where venues haven't abided by the 4 licensing objectives. So the policy sets out the licensing objectives rather than the number of premises. I can probably get that data to you that you're asking for if you give me the specific dates between the two for the number of licensed premises, specifically in the town centre. But I'd need to know which bit you want. Is it all of the town centre? Because otherwise I'm going to give you the wrong figures. But the licensing objectives is across the borough and it's irrelevant to the number of premises.
Excuse me, surely it's not. You've got a policy around the saturation area that might impact upon new licences. So if someone wants to reopen a licensed premises in this particular area, that would have to be taken into consideration. You know, the saturation principles would suddenly apply. It might make them more difficult to get a licence, surely.
So the saturation policy was brought in as a result of the police request and has been reviewed every 3 years. It's not a barrier for businesses to enter that area. They just have to demonstrate that they can meet the 4 licensing objectives and show us in their operating schedule when they make an application that they'll be able to manage the nighttime economy safely for people who will be using that area, because the W24B had a high incident rate for antisocial behaviour when the policy was brought in. So all they have to do is work with ourselves and the police when they make the application and listen to the guidance that we give them. We've never refused an application made in that area. We sometimes get representations from other businesses or members of the public or responsible authorities when we've had applications within the saturation zone, and they've all come to the committee. But the committee have never refused a new application for a premises within that area.
Clarification.
Thank you for that clarification. Anybody else like to speak? I don't think so. Right, so the motion to approve this report has been moved by Councillor Cartwright and seconded by Councillor Glenville. Could all those in favour please raise their hands now? Looking around, that is unanimous. Thank you very much indeed. And therefore the motion is carried. Right, we now move on to item 11, council values.
Thank you,
Councillor Blade, would you like to... present the report.
Yeah, I'm proud to present to you tonight the report on the refresh of the Council's values. The Council's values set out who we are. They help to guide the behaviours, actions and decision-making of everyone at the Council. Our values have been reviewed and refreshed to build upon the positive feedback received in the peer challenge, where a recommendation was to celebrate and communicate our culture, to reflect the aspirations and views of employees expressed in the recent staff survey. I'm sure you will recognise the culture of the Council reflected in the refreshed values. We are positive, we are ambitious, we are collaborative, we are customer focused. Hinkley Bosworth Council are one team, united in our commitment and integrity driven to deliver excellence for our community, making the most of our resources and living our values every day. I formally move the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bray. Do we have a seconder for the... Councillor Bowles.
I second, Mr Mayor, and reserve my remarks.
Councillor Allen, did you wish to speak?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr Mayor. Fully welcome the report, but in particular I'd just like to draw attention to paragraph 3.3. So 70% of the staff of this council have actually participated and put their views across. I think that's a fantastic response to such a survey. Usually looking at like 10 or 12%, so to actually get a 70% response is fantastic. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Anybody else would like to speak? Councillor Bowles, you would like to reserve your comments. Do you want to speak now?
Thank you very much, Mr Mayor. And just to say, in my day job, I create visions and values for companies. And I think what we've seen tonight is a demonstration of all of these. In Simon's award earlier, during the leader's speech, we've seen lots of examples of this. And I'm incredibly proud that we can all stand behind this. And with the size of workforce we have, without these, you get people not buying into it. And I think that's why this is important and why we need to get behind this and unanimously back this tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Bowles. Councillor Brace? No, nothing further. Right, the motion to approve this report has been moved by Councillor Bray and seconded by Councillor Bowles. Would all those in favour now please raise their hands? And again, I think that is unanimous. Thank you very much, everybody. The motion is therefore carried. Right, we now move on to item 12, council tax, local discounts and premiums. Councillor Lynch, would you like to present your report?
I present agenda item 12, local council tax discounts and premiums. It's fairly self-explanatory. The relevant, important thing is on page 76, which is the table. Excuse me. The intention of this proposal is not necessarily and primarily to gain additional revenues for the council, but is to try and bring as many houses as possible back into use. Providing those houses, and I find it difficult to say this, but it's true, providing those houses is more important than the 82,000-ish that it would provide us with. In 2021, when there was a last increase in premiums, 43% of the empty property came back into use. Now, I don't know what the effect of this will be, but if it's similar, then 300 plus houses will come back into use and be available for perhaps for young people who otherwise who find it difficult to go onto the ladder. If you've read through this, you may be slightly concerned about, as I was, about the position of people who have, for example, long-term repairs underway. And it may well be that some or all of these will have to be looked on in a case-by-case basis. But in principle, it isn't a sound situation for a borough the size of ours to have nearly 800 houses empty when they could be used, couldn't be of use, and this may help to redress the situation. And I formally move it, Mr. Mayor. I'll answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Councillor Bray. Lynch, sorry about that. Councillor Bray.
Yeah, I second the report and reserve my remark.
Thank you very much, Councillor Bray. Councillor Sutton.
One small point, Mr. Mayor. Second homes is always a hot potato.
if somebody lives in the city and also has a residence in a rural area, can they have one person nominated for one house and one for the other? Because this is what causes a big problem in the south of the country, and it is creeping up into the Midlands.
Thank you very much. We'll come back to it unless anybody else would like to.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, just a question. I've got an empty property in my ward that's been empty 20 years plus. Either he's refusing to pay or we're not collecting it. I can't understand that somebody could afford that for that length of time. So I'm just curious about whether, you know, do we have trouble collecting these funds in from empty properties, or do they automatically pay up?
Thank you very much, Councillor Crooks. Councillor Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Question from me would be around the hardship provisions within this particular proposal and the extent to which there would be a way of people with genuine reasons for the properties being as they are having an avenue to pursue to reduce the financial burden on them. I'm thinking particularly of bereavements.
Thank you, Councillor Lambert. Anybody else like to speak? Councillor Bray, as you reserved your comments, do you want to come back?
Yes, no, thank you. I agree with the comments that Councillor Lynch made at the start. This is more about behaviours. I think there's two things that concern me about lots of empty homes in the area. Number one is, as I say, that these, you know, the more of these empty homes that are already built that we can get back into use, the less fields we have to build on, frankly. I know the other thing that really concerns me as well is it's perhaps not such a big issue in Hinckley Bosworth, although I'm sure it is in some cases, is that where these, particularly where there's second homes, which are used seasonally for holidays and other things, if they are not used by people who are living here all year round, then that has a real knock-on impact on shops and pubs and everything else because they're not being used all year round. So I think this is important that we do this. And as has been said, and I think and to reassure comments that have been made by Councillor Lambert and others, there is still discretion. Ashley, as a Section 151 officer, will still have discretion to look at these on a case-by-case basis should particular circumstances warrant it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Bray. Councillor Lynch, did you want to make any final statement?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was quite surprised. Actually, it's a very interesting question, Brian. To actually achieve that, they would have to have one person living in occupation all the time in each property. That would be looked at very closely. But it could happen that I have my doubts. It's a very interesting question, nevertheless. Councillor Crooks, the odd one is that a lot of the empty houses, the people are actually still paying the council tax. How they can afford it is beyond me, but they do. That, incidentally, that one case that you pointed out, if you give Ashley the address, he will look into that. Councillor Lambert, yes, you picked up the point that I picked up. I would be concerned about the situation that could arise, as you say, survivors of somebody who died, but I can think of a lot of other considerations as well. So these will have to be looked at on a case-by-case basis. Councillor Bray, thank you for your comments. That's it from me, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Lynch. The motion to approve this report then has been moved by Councillor Lynch and seconded by Councillor Bray. Would all those in favour accepting the proposal please raise your hands now? Any objections? 2 objections. Therefore, the motion is carried. We move on to item 13, Community Governance Review. Councillor Bray, would you like to present your report?
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. I formally move the recommendations. In doing so, I presented this report to advise members of the outcome of the first stage of consultation of the Community Governance Review and to present the draft recommendations of the working group. Members will be aware that since local government reform was announced, I've given a commitment at previous meetings to try and ensure local services are preserved and that we should establish a town council for Hinckley. Community Governance Review is the process to facilitate that. The first stage consultation showed that whilst respondents were generally happy with the current governance arrangements, they were provided effective local government and reflected identities. Should local government reorganisation result in the creation of a larger unitary authority, respondents were much more likely to support an alternative government arrangement for Hinckley. Therefore, proposed recommendations for changes set out in the report, and we propose the amended timetable as set out again in the report. The timetable has been brought forward to try and mitigate any risk of restrictions from government in light of local government reorganisation. Members should note that this report is not seeking approval for any transfer of assets or services. It is purely to move to a second stage of consultation, and those matters will be subject to further discussions and council decisions in the future. The Scrutiny Commission will be consulted as part of the consultation being proposed. Thank you very much, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Bray. Councillor Bowles.
Yeah, I'll second and reserve my remarks,
Thank
Mr.
you
Mayor.
very much, Councillor Bowles. Councillor Allen.
Thank you very much, Mr Mayor. So, I fully support the principle of the establishment of a town council for Hinckley in light of what seems to be the inevitable local government review, where Hinckley and Bosworth Borough Council will unfortunately cease to exist. I did have some queries on the report tonight. However, I've been assured that those will be addressed through the Scrutiny Commission, and thank officers for that. If I might gently chide, it might have been helpful to have the minutes from the meeting before 9 PM last night. On a serious note, though, we need to make sure this process is fully balanced, fair and transparent. This is the biggest change in democracy for Hinckley in generations, and we need to make sure we deliver the best outcome that we possibly can. Support the motion. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Allen. Councillor Lambert, sorry.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr Mayor, sorry, and also support wholeheartedly the proposal to create a town council for Hinckley, and I thank the leader for his confirmation of scrutiny involvement in the next stage of the process.
Thank you, Councillor Lambert. Councillor Scott Gibbons.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. As one of the councillors representing Hinckley, one of the boroughs within Hinckley, I'm very pleased to see us come forwards. Hinckley needs representation if the borough is abolished. At the moment, we have no representation apart from in this borough council chamber. So this is essential. I look forward to being carried forwards over the next 6 months to a year. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gibbons. Anybody else wishes to speak? If not, Councillor Bowles, seeing you reserved your comments, do you want to come back?
I'm very quick tonight. Apologies, Mr Mayor. Yes, no, I fully support the work that's been done, and I congratulate as well the multi-party working group which was formed to actually get fair representation to Councillor Allen's comments, and also fully support it going to scrutiny. It needs to be scrutinised. It is the biggest change, but it's needed, and we're just following suit. I think Loughborough was the most recent example of following this, because real representation starts in the communities where it is, and Hinckley does deserve it, as Councillor Gibbons said. So I fully support this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bray. Councillor Bray, do you want to come back again?
I do, Mr Mayor, and I just want to remind the council and anybody watching why we're having to do this, really. We're sat here looking at a town council Hinckley, not because it's something that's particularly, a massive historic issue where there's been a groundswell of opinion for it, but we're here because we've got a Labour government who, without a mandate, are taking us forward on a review of local government organisation. And we've got a Conservative party at County Hall and Reform party at County Hall who are saying that the services should be centralised and run from Glenfield. Let's be clear, if they get their way and we end up with services being run from Glenfield, that is a big democratic deficit in my view, and it will see Hinckley services cut. So therefore, we're having to put in a layer of government, again, to make sure Hinckley people have a voice. And effectively, what we are saying is, we're advocating a change for a town council because we want services to stay the same. So on that note, Mr Mayor, I formally move the report.
Thank you, Councillor Bray. We have a motion to approve this report moved by Councillor Bray and seconded by Councillor Bowles. All in the favour of accepting the report, please raise your hands now. And I think that is carried unanimously. Thank you very much indeed, everybody. Right, we now move on to item 14, matters from which the public may be excluded. We need to consider the passing of a resolution under section 100A, open brackets 4, close brackets of the Local Government Act 1972, to excluding the public from the undermentioned item of business on the grounds that involves the likely disclosure of exempt information as defined in paragraphs 3 and 10 of Schedule 12A of the 1972 Act. Could we please have a mover of the motion to go into private session?
Move that, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Second,
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Okay, so I'm afraid the public will have to leave now. Oh, yeah. Need to take a vote that we move into private session. I think that's foregone anyway.